Yo, yo, it's the Red Blue Podcast crew. Reviewing flicks, both old and new. Red and blue, not political. Nah, man, chill. It was Marvel versus DC till we lost that thrill. Don't stress the episode, don't ask the season. We double up franchises, don't ask for a reason. Moti's got rules that nobody gets. His takes on movies, they're wild as it gets. He's got Super Bowl Mac and Gray by his side. Trying to keep it sane while they're in for the ride. Moti's measures are out of control, but in the end he's got the final role. Yeah, Red Blue Podcast, come check the scene. Movies old and new, know what I mean?
And we are live talking about movies once again. How are you, Matt?
I'm fine. I want to say I'm happy to be here, but today we talk about one very bad movie, another okay movie. So I can mid about this new episode, but I'm happy to be here with you, Mukti, to talk about cinema. Cinema is always something interesting to talk about. So yeah, you, Mukti.
I am doing great. Thank you for joining me. And I will start with that statement. These two movies will be remembered on how to make, or I should say, how to not make a Superman movie, because they are not so great. One is slightly better. The other one is known as one of the worst of the worst. And I am quite excited to get through both movies. And it's kind of funny because A Quest for Peace, I did see it many years ago, but it's many years ago. And way back then, I had really poor taste and I liked anything with a cape. This time around on my rewatch, I suffered. I thought that was a very bad movie, and it was somewhere worse than the Supergirl movie that came out around the same time, which is fascinating. So I guess we'll start with A Quest for Peace, because this is the oldest one.
Yeah.
What did you think of that horrendous movie?
First of all, I not agree with you. Supergirl is the worst superhero movie. Back then, it was the worst superhero movie of all time. Catwoman movie beat that in a year, but back then, Supergirl was the worst of them, and you can't say otherwise than that. But yes, Superman 4, The Quest of Peace, is a good candidate for that title. Is the worst of the trilogy of the 4 movie with the Christopher Reeve, unfortunately. And originally that was not supposed the case, because the studio changed with this movie after the fail of the third and the Supergirl movie. The right of the Superman was bought by Canon Studio. Canon Studio is famous back then for action movie with Chuck Norris, Sylvester Stallone, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he tried to restart the franchise of Superman with this movie and to save the studio, because back then Canon Studio was not okay. And this movie has a big budget originally, and Christopher Reeve have a main control of the project. But between the production, the movie lost the half of this budget, and many idea was cut for the movie. 45 minutes of the movie was cut.
Wait,
yeah,
it was meant to be longer?
Yeah, and all these scenes are cut for a supposed 5 statement, but this movie was so failed that the 5th statement was cancelled. But Canon want to do a new trilogy with Superman 4, 5, and 6. So you have 45 minutes of this movie that cut for the future 5. Some scene you can find some of the scene on internet, but does not save the movie in the end. But yeah, Superman 4 was the fail, not because the project, but the studio behind it. I feel you can see this movie had not budget. That's sad. You have some idea, but with not creativity, not budget, not direction to do, the movie fell for all he tried. For the main villain, Nuclear Man, not belong in this universe. He feel outside of the Superman universe. Out of place, exactly. But it's fun to see Christopher Reeve again as Superman, because he's perfect at the role, and we have more of Lois Lane and Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is back. That's a good thing. He's great Nuclear Man. He's goofy as before, and you have more Lois Lane. But Lois Lane is back with a new love triangle goal not working for the story. You have a new main actress for the movie. I forget this name. Give me a fun second. Lacey. Lacey, the new female main character. She in love with Clark Kent, and Superman is in love with Lois Lane. You have this weird love triangle. This is not working. It's so cringe. And some moment we have this scene where Superman is in a apartment with Lois Lane, and he's on the road. He's in the entrance with as Clark Kent with the Lacey, and he go back to back many times. This scene is so cringe. The movie tried to do to create some scene from the first Superman movie, but he had not the creativity behind. That's sad to see. And the new female character is not particularly interesting to follow. She's like a Lois Lane two.
A worse Lois Lane.
Yeah, not basically the actress is not great. The actress who play Lois Lane is so good as plays her Lois Lane. I don't understand that short for the story. The same for Nuclear Man. He's not interesting bad guys to fight. And the fight you have in the end with Superman, you can see clearly the movie had not budget. And the end of the movie, just the scene with the Liberty statue. When he threw the Liberty statue and the Superman catch this and placed again, you see this is the same scene, just back forth. That's so bad. That's sad. Yeah, but you can see the movie has some idea, but that's sad. In the end, what Canon does with this movie. But I was happy to see Christopher Reeve again because he's the perfect Clark Kent and Superman, and he is good in the movie. Not a great script, not great story, and not big stuff to do in the movie. But this is Christopher Reeve, and yeah, he's perfect. And Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor again is a good thing because he's perfect as Lex Luthor. He's not something. He not much interesting here that in the first two Superman, but it's nice to see him again. Yeah, and for me, this movie a big deception, but I'm not surprised, like I say, because when you change the direction of a movie in the productions, that's not a good thing to do, and that's the case for this movie. And after that, this movie just destroyed the franchise of Superman on cinema for so many years. Just that, and then you have it take like 20 years, and you have Superman Return to try to revive that and fail too. So that the story repeats itself, maybe not for the same reason. I would say we'll talk later about that. But for the case of Superman 4, the only thing I would say is one thing I still feel funny is that you have the actor John Cryer. He's played the nephew of Lex Luthor, Lenny Luthor, and I don't know if you recognize him, but he played Lex Luthor.
Supergirl.
Yeah, he plays Lex Luthor in the Supergirl. And in an interview, he plays Lex Luthor for the fan to forget him. He has played Lenny Luthor and Superman 4. That this way to correct that decision to play in the Superman 4. He played Lex Luthor to be better and the Supergirl. And that's funny because he's perfect as Lex Luthor and Supergirl. He's very great, very intimidated. But in this movie, he's just the young nephew dump and try to be funny. That not work with Lex Luthor. But okay, with design the cart and the prison where he escaped with Lex Luthor, he used a cart to trap to guard, and the cart fell on the cliff. That's so cartoon for the universe of Superman. I know the first and two and the third, all the old Superman movie are kind of some element of cartoon, but it's not a movie cartoon like Batman from the 16. That's not the same ambience. and this movie has so element of cartoon. Like in the end, when the big fight, you have Superman take half of the mountain to block a volcano. That's so cartoon. That's so bad.
I actually had forgotten that happened.
Yeah, in the end,
And I won't forget I've seen that movie. That's how bad that was.
yeah, I agree with you. This movie is sad because the first Superman was so perfect and the second one was good. And after that, he tried to create again the formula and he failed and he failed. And the new studio don't understand that either. That's sad because that was the big role for Christopher Reeve and he just failed with to save this character. He had the control of some element in this movie, but he can save this movie to fail. Like I said, the movie was controlled by Canon, and Canon decided to cut the budget to change the direction. That was a mess, and this movie was a big mess. And yeah, the movie is interesting to see to see a fail fell from this era of cinema. This is a good example of what to not do. I was happy to see the movie for that. I don't want to see this movie again, but I'm happy to see this movie one time, and I recommend for that. But I'm intrigued to have your opinion about this movie, Multi.
You know, it's fascinating because this movie actually made money, which is shocking because
Yeah.
it wasn't great. Now, I will admit this. It was painful to get through it again, and I think I said it in backstage. I can't remember if I said it during the show, but what I basically said is I did see the movie many years ago. With very different lenses, and I was quite entertained. I thought that was a fun movie, and then you end up rewatching, and you're like, I was wrong. It's actually terrible. So the plot is quite basic. Lex Luthor break out of prison and fight once again Superman by cloning Superman. The world also wants nuclear disarmament and use Superman to push their agenda, which is very political, and it's also accurate to a lot of these Superman comics, especially during that era. But again, that's the plot, and you're like, oh, that may sound fun, right? But when you watch the end results, you're like, what is this? What am I watching?
Yeah.
So my issues with it, the first issue was awful directing and or acting. I thought everyone sucked in the movie, and
Hey,
maybe
Christopher
that's
Reeve
it.
was okay. Christopher Reeve was okay, man.
I that may be a hot take, but I think that's his worst movie. I think at that point he knew he had a very very bad product in his hand, and he was like, anything that will happen will happen.
I see, I see.
That's how I see it, and that's why I always say and think this movie I feel is worse than the Supergirl movie because at least Ellen Slater enjoys herself despite being in a terrible movie. Um, anyway, to continue here, my second issue, awful visual effect.
Oh yeah.
And it's fascinating because the first Superman movie came out like 9 years before this, and it was looking far better.
Yeah.
The movie aged well. The first one, it aged so well. And then you end up with this one, and you're like, is it money laundering? Is that what happened? Is that why we don't see where the money went? The third issue, Lex wasn't as good as previous movies. I thought it was just thrown there because people were like, "Oh, we like the actor. Let's just bring him back." And I really like his portrayal in the first one, and I even seen the second one. It was kind of cool. But in this one, I was like, you overused your guy. You overused him because I thought that was his worst movie. Uh, my next issue, plot armor on guards after a car blew up, and that goes back to what you said. It's very cartoonish, and I was like, it rubbed me off the wrong way. It's like, bruh, what are we doing there? What am I watching?
Yeah.
The next issue, more bad visual effects. So when I mentioned that twice, it means my eyes were hurt, and that's sad. I even say like TV shows, like freaking Lois and Clark New Superman Adventure that came out like 5 years after that movie looked far better. And we are talking about a TV show from the 90s that looked better from that movie. And I'm not joking. Like, even the show itself didn't look that great, but it looked better than whatever A Quest for Peace tried to do, which is fascinating. The next thing is, I thought the dialogue was not so great. I thought they had a lot of on the nose politics. And again, I get it, cinema has a lot of politics, but try to hide it at least. Like, try to be subtle about that. Don't hammer it on people's head. Uh, don't force it down people's throats. I I can't remember how exactly to phrase it. I know the phrasing is wrong there, but the dialogue just no. And my seventh issue, more awful lines. The next issue, characters were forgettable. We got a dollar store Lois Lane, and we got Lois Lane, and even Lois Lane, I'm like, she's not as great. Like, I feel like everyone is just there because there's a fat paycheck, and nobody really loved doing that movie, except maybe the Nuclear Man. That one, it wasn't great, but I feel like he was enjoying himself more than the others for some reason. Maybe it's because he didn't
I think because
participate.
that's the first big role in the cinema for him. He was not known before that. He was a role model, I think, and that was the first big role on the cinema. Maybe that's why he was so happy to be in the movie.
And maybe it's because he wasn't part of the others. And I as much as I had issues with the third one had some interesting concept, and here I just feel like it's shallow, it's empty, it's just not as great. And I'm not praising the third one. I'm just saying the third one wasn't as bad. The next issue, more bad acting or directing, more bad visual effect, more bad visual effect, and the fight choreography was insulting. Usually, I don't speak about that because I know martial artists and I don't know much about fight choreography, but it was striking how bad the final fight was. Um, I just thought they really dropped the ball really hard on that one. Now I may sound overly negative, but there's a few fun things. I
Yeah.
won't say they redeemed the movie. I'm just saying that they exist, they are there. So let's get into my likes. Nice theme of losing journalistic integrity. I enjoyed that. I was like, oh, you know what? I can forgive parts of that horrendous movie because they pushed that team, and I like that team. This, as far as praise can go, I thought the action, despite being bad, was entertaining, and I won't lie. As much as the movie is bad, it wasn't boring, so I was quite entertained by a bad movie. And my last positive, Superman dealing with his double identity was entertaining, like swiping from Superman to Clark. I think they overplayed it, but
Yeah, it was a little cringe. I feel because it's too much. He back for too much time, and they seen it too long for their own good. And like I said, the new love triangle not work for not good idea.
so overall, I think that's a miss. They missed the mark so hard. And um, do you want to add anything else? Because I went through my notes and I think it's the perfect time for the grade. Except if you'd like to add something.
Yeah, I think about this movie. I think I see all I want to say. Oh yeah, we talk about bad effect. I want to talk about bad effect, but weird use of power of Superman. You have to see in this movie when he used this power so weird. The first time he with Lois Lane, he go flying with her and he release her and she fly without him, so he can give this fly power to Lois Lane so she can fly. That makes sense. And when he fight nuclear man, he go to China and broke the wall, the China wall, and with his eyes he repair the wall. So that makes sense too. That the Superman power. I know for this scene, originally he's supposed to do with the army, but he did not have the budget to do the effect. But it's weird to use the power this way because he ended at this power. You can see the limited of budget there. But I think we talk all about this movie. This movie is unique. Is one of this genre. You need to see this movie one time to see the what to do not to do for a spare movie and what disaster looked like on back then. So yeah.
And I will also add this: watch it knowing what you get into. Like expect something bad because this is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So I will give this movie a 1.5, which is one of the lowest score on this channel ever. It's like top 10 worst. What would be your score out of 10 for A Quest for Peace?
For me, one of two of them is like for an hour or for like a B series movie or a Z series movie. This one is just a fail. It has some ideas, some idea in the movie, and we have Christopher Reeve back as Superman, so that gives some point for that. For me, it's like I would say maybe a third 3 of 10 for this movie, maybe a 3.5 for some idea in the movie. But this movie is a disaster in the end. Is worse, and but the third is worse too. The third I would give like maybe a 4 or 4.5 at least, and this one is less better, so 3 or 3.5 for.
I feel you, and again, it's fascinating how this movie made money. People
Yeah.
were excited to watch another entry, and I can imagine the disappointment in people's faces after they left the theater. They were like, "What did I just watch?"
Yeah, imagine Canon want to do a 5 and a 6 Superman the same way. That would be something to see.
So now, there's a segment I started doing recently. Well, recently now it's been like 2 months I'm doing it, but this is the Rottentomato, and I'm very curious to see what people had to say on that horrendous movie. Are we crazy or are we onto something? Do we agree with the folks? So now we are screen sharing the Rottentomato because I'm curious to read the room and see how people felt watching this movie. So I will bring up the Rottentomato for A Quest for Peace. There we go. There we go. A Quest for Peace, and look at that.
Ah,
The critic gave a 16%, and the audience gave a 16%, which is fascinating. Everyone is on board. Nobody liked it. Okay, well, this is a start. Seeing the USA and the Soviet Union engaged in a nuclear arms race that could lead to Earth destruction, Superman Christopher Reeves want to take out the nuclear weapons. Interesting. So, critic consensus. The Superman series bottoms with The Quest for Peace. The action is boring, the special effects look cheaper, and none of the actors appear interested in where the plot is going. Do you
pretty
agree
fair.
with that?
That mostly fair for all the that said. The action is yeah is boring, and the special effect is look so worse than the first and the two Superman movie. And I don't agree for all actor. I feel Christopher Reeve is okay as Superman again, but I understand for the rest, particularly the new main female actress and other new actor in the movie. But yeah, I feel that pretty resumed all the movie.
I didn't think I would agree with a critic consensus so much. I said it. I thought the action was enjoyable but poorly executed. Again, I mentioned fight choreography. I never do that. The special effect again looked worse than a TV show that came out like 3 to 4 years after, which is kind of fascinating to do that. You're a Dane movie. Um, so yeah, it's fascinating. I don't have other words. So let's get into the critic review. The first critic liked it, surprisingly enough, Joe Kane from the New York Daily News. A fresh score, which is okay, okay, that's impressive. While the VX are pretty cheesy, Superman 4 supplies enough B movie fun to make a Bijou visit worthwhile. I I I get the sentiment, I get the feeling. I strongly disagree. It was terrible.
You know, for a B movie, I understand the appeal. Some people like to see B and Z movie just for the purpose to see that kind of movie because the movie are so bad, so weird that make entertainment in the end for some people. I understand that. That not me. I don't like to see bad movie. I try to avoid that, but I understood the appeal.
Well, let's read out the second comment being Julian Gare, Village of Voice, with another a rotten score. Superman 4 seems like a sloppy, low budget echo of the original. I agree with that.
I
Uh,
agree too. I agree too. The movie tried to do same scene at the first Superman, like when he takes Lois Lane to fly, and other scene like that, but not with the same creativity and same budget behind.
and the same love.
Yeah,
Here it was just a cash grab, and what's fascinating about it, it made money.
yeah.
How can a bad movie make so much money? I'm baffled by it. Coming next, Jamie Bernard from New York Post with another rotten score. It's lazy, muddled, ambivalent, almost uneventful. Um, I'm with that person. I think it's quite short, but I guess they didn't want to expand because there's not much to say about such a bad movie. Do you have any reaction to that comment from Jamie?
That a good resume of the movie. Lazy is a good term for the movie. You feel that because the movie had a cut budget, the movie become lazy for what he want to do, and you feel that on all the movie. That's a good resume.
Coming next, oh, we got David Crumpler from Florida Times Union with another rotten score of 2 out of 5, so that'd be a 4 out of 10. The story is shallow, the special effects are strangely routine, and the characters are even more superficial than you'd expect from a film inspired by a comic book series. Um, I understand that statement, but I will push back a little bit. Let's be honest. In the 80s and 70s, we didn't get complex characterization or stories in the comics. There were some exceptions, of course, but overall, like some of the characters in these comics were very superficial. Uh, any thoughts on that, Matt?
Uh, I'm the same thought that you. Back then, Sparrow and not the complex character. You have interesting character, like in the first two Superman. Superman is an interesting character to follow. He's not complex. He's not a dark and painful character. but interesting. But yeah, that problem back then. Many of the type of the character was superficial, and Superman Cat is a good Superman 4 is a good example of that, because you have no substance in any of character. Like I said, Christopher Reeve is okay in the Superman, but this Superman had not anything to offer in this movie. You can see that in the introduction of the movie. So I understand this critic about the movie.
Interesting reply. So before we get into the audience, we got a very interesting comment here from the chat. 9G3 and 9 Echo. What about Smallville? Well, I love this show, and there are several videos and streams about Smallville on my channel. There's a retrospective with 3 episodes. There is a entire run with Cole Turner way back then when we covered it on the Red Blue podcast, and more recently I also covered it for the film and shows adaptation. So if you really want to hear my full thoughts, you have hours of me praising, liking, and also hating aspect of Smallville. But if we can make it short, I think Smallville did great. It elevated the source of material, and I think Smallville is one of the factors, one of the reasons Superman comics evolved afterward, and even Supergirl to some extent. Uh,
Yeah, as for me, I love Smallville TV shows. But I see this show, like I see this show 3 times and 30. I see the ninth season 3 times. But the show is start to be great after 4 or 5 seasons. That's the problem with the show. The first 4 season are so teenager drama. You have so too much teenager drama. But the actor who play Clark Kent is perfect in the role. And in the end, it's probably one of the best superhero TV show of time, for the story, for the universe he built. Maybe the show was too long for the on purpose. The ninth season is something, but I love the show. Like I say, I see this show 3 times. But for new people to discover this show, maybe they be difficulty to start that for the amount of episode. But for the story, like I say, the first season are more hard to follow, to travel to see. But because after that, the show become very great. But I recommend to see Smallville. Very good, very fantastic show about Superman.
I will also add this. I think 10th season was perfect for what they really wanted to do. And I will also say this, as much as there were low points in later season, as much as there were also low points in the early season, I think overall it's the most complete. It's also the better made uh, superhero TV show from DC. Of course, Superman and Lois came out after, and I think Superman and Lois improved on what Smallville did great. But yeah, that's how I feel. And now there's another comment. My favorite Lex is Michael Rosenbaum.
Of course. This actor play Lex Luthor in the Smallville. He was perfect at Lex Luthor. As to this, some people say that he was the only great Lex Luthor on any version on TV or cinema. The actor who played Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman, in the first two Superman, the Superman 4 was good, but Michael Rosenbaum play so a complex Lex Luthor and Smallville, so interesting character to follow. He was perfect in the role. And I agreed with him. He's my favorite Lex. I see other version like in Batman vs Superman, like in Superman new movie, and like in the Titan TV show, where we have other actor play Lex Luthor, and we have in the Superman Lois, other actor play Lex Luthor too. But in the end, I think Michael Rosenbaum is the best Lex Luthor as today.
I will have a very odd take there. I love Michael Rosenbaum, but he is not my favorite. And my favorite is Michael Klutitz, the guy from Superman and Lois. He had like a season and a half of greatness, and I won't spoil much, but one of the first few scenes he appears in is wonderful. he just unleashes the energy a bad guy must have. Um, I love that Lex Luthor and what they did with the back half of season 3 and season 4, because that was mostly his big role. Um, he did amazing things. So Superman and Lois in my books had the best Lex Luthor, and I still love Michael Rosenbaum. I just thought uh, the guy from Superman and Lois it did better. So those who haven't seen Superman and Lois and like Smallville, go watch Superman and Lois. I think season 2 was a low point, but the overall TV show was amazing. Now, the next comment: are y'all excited for Avengers Doomsday? I am. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see this movie. I'm some constant about this movie because the actor who played Doctor Doom is the same who play Iron Man. That for me, that's something weird. I'm curious to see how they will play out. But I'm very excited, very hyped to see this movie for all the character I love to see him again. But yeah, this movie will be interesting to see where if Marvel is good as it will always be, because the last movie I done not work as well as to be supposed to be, and this one will be a big test for Disney to see if the MCU can continue this way. And I hope so. I love Marvel, and I want to see more stuff of Marvel. But yeah, Avenger Doomsday, I'm very high, but I'm concerned for Doctor Doom.
So I'm excited about Doomsday, but I will say this. I think it's time to go Marvel. I think it's time for a reboot, because now that MCU is almost 20 years old, I think they should close the book on that specific story with Secret Wars, which will come out next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they will close the book, because at some point, you lost a lot of pillar, like Captain America. Yes, we got a replacement, the former Falcon, and I do like Falcon becoming Captain America. That's a nice process. However, uh, a lot of people will discredit that, and a lot of people actually want the original one with the original backstory, not the reworked one that just replaced someone that was leaving. And I also think now that Disney has most of the Marvel characters, Spider-Man aside, I think they should start something brand new with every IP they have. They could do something amazing. That's how I feel. I'm screaming for a reboot with all of the IPs. That could be the greatest MCU. That could be better than the first one they started. Uh, but again, uh, every good story needs an ending. Um, every good story needs its ending. That's all I feel, and that's what I think. I'm not quite sure. Not Henry Cavill. I don't really quite get what you mean by there. Hell no, not fucking as Captain. That's stupid. I can see the argument for both ways, and again, I think I'm fine with it, but I still feel like it doesn't feel right or as authentic as Steve Rogers that did the Second World War or that kind of stuff.
And the comic that make more sense when Falcon become Captain America. That sorry about that, very interesting the comic. And the movie tried its best, and I like the way that would be. And with the TV show Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I love this show. And he explained more Falcon become Captain America. But I understand when some people don't like it. But in the end, you need to evolution in this universe. Captain America is a title in the end, and in the comics so many people have become Captain America over the year, so it makes sense for me that a new younger version of Captain America is now in the MCU. You need to refresh the universe. Iron Man is not there, and etc. So it makes sense for me that Falcon become the new Captain America. He have new team to treat, like racism and other stuff like that. So for me, that makes sense, and I want to see more of him. The movie fell, the Captain America 4 fell, but I don't think the DC want to use more of this character. We'll see in the future. But I don't like the hate the character has now for so many people. That doesn't make sense for me.
I find that sad. Again, I can see both sides of the argument. So I guess now we will finish off that Rotten Tomato segment with the audience comment with a Samita B. 3 stars, that's a 6 out of 10. I know people hate it because how badly it was directed and the horrendous VFX, but I feel it captures Superman better than the others. Oh my. Ooh. Ooh. It gets under my skin. That comment. I strongly disagree. Um. So yeah.
I don't agree either. But like I said, I understand why some people see the appeal of this kind of movie, this B movie, and for some people that work better for them, not for me. I don't think he's captured better Superman in this movie than other movie before. So Superman 1 and 2 captured perfectly the that. But sometimes people are of crazy talk about movie. You know that movie.
Yeah, I have the best crazy take ever. The next one, CSC. 1 star. I regret watching this so much. Fascinating.
I see that before.
Another 1 star. It's bad, like really, really bad. A star and a half. The weak writing and uninspired acting. Awful visual effect to make this the worst Superman movie in the entire franchise.
Yeah,
I think we both agree on that.
yeah.
So we were not crazy. We could read the room, we understand the room, and turns out people didn't like that movie, except one odd critic out there and one odd audience out there. And this was the Superman A Quest for Peace a talk. So I guess now we are moving on to Superman Return. What did you think of that movie?
This movie, I like it. I see this movie first time when I was younger. I don't like it before. When I see it the first time, I was like, okay, I prefer the version of Smallville because back then I followed the TV show Smallville and I loved the version of the Superman in the Smallville. And then I see this movie and I was like, nah, I don't prefer this version. I prefer the other version. So I never see the movie again. And last year, I see Superman Return again before the release of the new Superman movie. I see all the Superman movie for just for the experience, and I like it. It's not a bad movie like many people say. It's not great either. The director behind this movie is Brian Singer. He's know how to do a superhero movie. He had done the 2 first X-Men movie, and he had done Day of Future Past and X-Men Apocalypse before after that. And he know how to do that. That's sad because when he had done this movie, he stopped doing X-Men 3. So you have a worse X-Men movie, and nation you have a okay Superman movie. I don't think the exchange is fair for me. I prefer Benson stay on the X-Men movie to do a better X-Men 3 than doing that. But the story is behind us, and Superman Return exists. So yeah, for me okay, and I feel the Brennan Mott is a okay version of Superman. He's better after that in the Arrowverse. He's play against Superman in the Arrowverse, and he's better in it. But the big issue I have with this movie, and many people have with this movie is supposed to be the new Superman 3 movie. Is the sequel of the 2 first Superman movie back in the 17 and the 80. Brian Singer want to do a new continuity with this movie with a new cast, but he keep Marlon Brando as Jor-El. We have one scene with him when he talked with Lex Luthor and the Fortress of Solitude. You have one scene is this thing he take from the first Superman movie. But other than that, all the cast were changed. So we have Brendan Routh at Superman. We have Kate Bosworth at Lois Lane. You have Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor, for example. You have other actors have changed. But and then the big problem of this movie, the movie tried to be the new Superman 3 that won't work because the movie was released in the 2000. and 2000 superhero genre have evolved, not the same before. You have X-Men movie release, you have a Blade movie now, you have Daredevil movie, etc. And that's not the same vision you have now about the superhero movie. This movie is trying to capture to
Capture.
captured the formula back then, but give us a modern version of that. But that's not working. The story is too long for the own good. Miss some element in it. I feel the movie will be better if it will be shorter. The movie is like 2 hour and 40 minutes, I remember, and too long for the own good. Uh, the cast is good. Kevin Spacey is great as Lex Luthor. Uh, I feel he can give better than he has in the movie. He have a plan. The plan is similar as the first Superman movie. You want to create the own land for him to control. You have pretty much the same evil plan that the first Superman movie, but this plan is a little more weird in this one. And You have the same rescue scene where Superman saved many people in the city. For me, it's the best scene of the movie. Save many people. The plane crash is it's the best scene of the movie. I love this scene so much. That beautiful piece of cinema there. Other than that, I feel Kate Bosworth uh, is forgettable as Lois Lane. You see, can see she tried to be the same Lois Lane you know before, but she not have the same charisma as the first actress, and she had not the same chemistry with Brendan Roth. The two have some relationship in the movie, but I don't feel the same emotion that I feel before. Other than that, the rest of cast is okay. You have James Marsden, who play Cyclops and the X-Men franchise. They follow Brian Singer in this project, and he played the new boyfriend of Lois Lane. I like the actor. I like to see him in movies, so I was happy to see him there. He did not have a big role, but that's nice. He is in the movie. But yeah, for me, it's an okay movie and not bad as many people say. Yeah, the movie has so many flaws, so many problems. The story is not the best to introduce Superman again, because the context is that Superman leave Earth for 5 years to find other Krypton people, and he go back on Earth, and the life has changed. Lex Luthor is now free and try to control the state. And Lois Lane is fiancée to a new guy, and she have children. And all the story behind this kid is so. It's not well done. You say that when the first time you see them, you understand that is a kid of Superman. The mystery is not working in all the movie. That's one of the problem with the story. The mystery never work. But it's a okay movie, and I'm sad that Brendan Roth was so hate back then for this role of Superman. It was good, not as to be a new Christopher Reeve, but what he was his own in the Arrowverse that worked perfectly. Yeah, he has some scene in the reverse in the crossover, and he's perfect. What he plays Superman, this own version, not Christopher Reeve version, kind of. And yeah, I think many people need to see the movie again because it worth to watch at least one time. I know the movie is longer; it's like 2 hours 40 minutes, but it worth the time to see that it's not that bad that many people say. It's just not as good as supposed to be. We wait like 20 years to see a new Superman movie, and before that, it was supposed to be a Superman movie with Nicolas Cage, and the movie failed to be produced with Tim Burton, and many people were sad about that, and many fans want to see a new Superman movie, and we have that after that with Brendan Roth. And maybe that one the problem with this movie. We have so expectation about this movie, and so expectation with the previous project that failed with Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage was so much well known that Brendan Roth was a new actor in Hollywood back then. That one of the first big role he have in Hollywood, and maybe it was too big for him to start with. But the actor is good. I see him in many stuff, and he's a good actor. And again, he's good as Superman when you see him in the hours. I want to see that too. Yeah, it's that because this movie is supposed to start a new trilogy, and we failed, so the trilogy was canceled. And we talked about that before the show, but Brendan Roth is a big fan of Superman. He tried to be Superman in Smallville TV show that not working, and try again for Superman Return. He had the role. He was so excited, so hyped to be Clark Kent Superman. And he said in some interview that after this project, he has a little depression because I was so disappointment for him that movie failed. Now he's okay. He accept the failed movie, and he had a chance, like I said, to do Superman again. But that was something back then for many people, for this actor particularly. So yeah, I like the movie. It's not bad, but it's not exceptional too. He's okay. Like we talk about Superman 4 is worse, and Superman 2 is so worse. So this new kind of Superman 3 is so better, and I like that for that too. So yeah, and you multi.
Well, I gotta say, I will start by saying it was around the time of Smallville sixth season, and it's kind of fascinating. Because again, you said it 20 years without a Superman movie, and let's be honest, 3 and 4 were not highly praised, they were not highly loved, and then we had Smallville, and we also had something in between, being the Lois and Clark
Yeah.
new Superman adventures. The reception of that one, I'm not quite sure. All I know is it got canceled after fourth season, and I didn't like the only season I've watched thus far, so I don't know. But the expectations were quite high for Superman Return. Now, a bit of personal experience. I did see it at the theater as a preteen, as almost a teen, and I quite enjoyed it as a child again. Many years later now, I rewatched it for this show. It's not awful. It's not great either. It's something in between. So let's get into the plot. That's quite simple. Superman, aka Clark, can come back from space after traveling for years searching for his dead planet of birth, Krypton. In this arrival, he finds his worst enemy out of jail and the woman he loved for years of being in a new relationship. And that's the premise of that movie. I think the premise sounds good. The execution in the other end is not so great. So here are my issues with Superman Return. Lightning and or color grading was really bad. There are moments, especially early with Lex Luthor introduction, where I couldn't see crap, and maybe that's my color blindness. But
The movie tried to be more darker, like X-Men movie. That Brian Singer used the same color matrix to for this movie, more dark, more modern version. And I understand something. You have difficult time to see what is happening.
I didn't buy into it. I didn't enjoy it, and by memory, because it's been years I haven't seen these X-Men movies, but I thought it was fitting for the universe they were trying to do. I just don't think it's fitting for Superman or that movie, or there's just something off-putting about it. And now that I've read several Superman comic, I'm like, this fits the tone of like the Exile or Death and Return of Superman, but the story doesn't seem to be like these two, so there's something clashing there. I don't know. My next issue, off-putting dialogue and exposition dumps. The third issue I had, pacing was awful throughout. 30 to 40 minutes could have been cut. My fourth issue, plot armor on plain people, no death or serious injuries, and the crash was kind of really bad. I guess Superman is that super. The fifth issue, visual effect in the bank robbery scene were awfully bad. The bullets, I don't think it aged very well 20 years later. Feels stupid as a sixth issue. All most characters, love interest aside, don't question how come Clark and Soups both appear at the same time. I I had like flashbacks from A Quest of Peace and how stupid that movie was. I was like, what were we doing there? Nobody connects the dot. Like 2 days later, like, oh, Superman is back, and then Clark is back. Oh my. My seventh issue, off-putting a dirty humor that shouldn't be in a kids movie, because I think that movie was supposed to be a kids movie, and I heard some of the dirty humor and I was like, oh, that feels so out of place. Why are we doing that in this movie? I wasn't that comfortable with it.
That the
Uh,
thing about Brian Singer, he like dirty humor. You have some like that in the X-Men movie too. That not some that sometimes that work, but you know, I agree with you. This is supposed to be a family movie, and that not need that was not necessary to be there.
and based on what I remember from the X-Men, I thought they were more aiming for a young teen or teen public more than a kids friendly. And I might be wrong because I haven't seen them in years, but based on what I remember from the X-Men universe, it was more aimed at a slightly older audience. I don't think it was aiming at kids. Again, I might be wrong. We will cover them this fall, so we will see. But based on memory, I thought uh, X-Men did it better. Anyway, to get back
Yeah.
to Return. My seventh issue with Return, off-putting dirty humor that shouldn't. Oh, I already said that. So the eighth issue, Lex was a weak villain, and I thought that was the worst Lex on pretty much any media. Like I'd even picked the really bad Lex from the Lois and Clark New Superman adventure. I really didn't like that Lex, but I think it was more memorable than whatever we got with Returns, unfortunately. And this is your main villain we are talking about. This is the biggest letdown in the movie. My ninth issue. Unbelievable, all glasses are enough to conceal Clark's identity. His Clark persona isn't different enough from his Soup's identity. And I had the same issue with Superman and Lois more recently. I don't think the persona did fit, or I should say, it wasn't distinct enough. And maybe that's why I like so much Christopher Reeves and David Corinne Sweat, because I really believe these are two distinct and different characters. And I don't see that with Route. As much as he's a cool Superman and Clark overall, the divide and the split personality doesn't feel all that there. I might be crazy, I might be wrong. What did you think of the split Clark Superman characters? Did
I
you see
feel
it?
Yeah, I see it. I feel Brendan Root is okay to be Clark Kent and to be Superman. A switch between them. You not have so much scene with Clark Kent and to see the difference. But it's much better than Henry Cavill version, I would say.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh my, Henry Cavill. Oh my,
Henry Cavill is perfect as Superman, but he don't try to be
terrible
Clark Kent.
Clark.
He don't try to be Clark Kent. And this one, Brendan Root tried to be the two piece of the same piece, and that worked. You need more scene to be better, because in the first and two Superman, you have so many scenes when Clark Kent, and when he switched, we have some scene. You can see that this movie don't take time to do that so much. It's more the story more focused on the evil plan of Lex Luthor and the return of Superman on Earth than the story of Clark Kent himself. And that's one of the issue with this movie. You need to create a good story about Superman. You need to create a good story about Clark Kent too. The two characters are the same, but as not the same story to follow. And that's a good thing about Smallville or Superman Lois TV show, and about the last Superman movie. You have the story tried to create a good story for the two part of the main character, and this one had that too, but not as great as supposed to. Like you said before, that's supposed to be the return of Superman. That was a big event back then, and the expectation was high, and the movie don't deliver that for the character. Is like I said, not bad, but it can be so much better than that. But like I say, you have worse after that with Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
He don't try to be Clark Kent. He's perfect as Superman. So yeah,
Even Lois, I feel like, and I like Amy Adams. I just think that random chick in Returns is doing slightly better
Kate
than Amy
Bosworth.
Adams.
Kate Bosworth.
That's to tell how much I don't really like any of the casting from the Snyder era. Like, Man of Steel is a good sci-fi movie, but I will never consider that Superman. Anyway, um, I I will say Returns had ideas, and they were not well made or well executed. That's unfortunate because again, that's one of the longest Superman movie out there, and you could have made something massive, something great. I just didn't see it, unfortunately. So let's get into the likes because there are aspects that kind of redeem the movie a little bit in my books. Jimmy was entertaining, probably the only decent casting in the movie. The action and the three big places involving Superman were fun. The reveal of the kid being Superman's son was okay. We have seen it coming, but it was okay. The love triangle was okay. Despite some weak moment, lots of the humor did work, and overall the movie was okay. I was about to say entertaining, but no, that'd be a lie in my books because that movie was like half an hour too long. Um, it's so unfortunate because I think Brendan Rout is has the potential and could be great. Like it was amazing in Crisis on the Infinite Earth,
Yeah,
and I wish we had more time with both sides of the character. I just think the casting overall of pretty much everything, or I should say everyone else, not so great. Jimmy is the best casting in that movie in my books. I think he embodies so well Jimmy and who he should be, what he should be. I like it. Um, Overall, this movie for me could have been better, could have been worse. So now I will ask you: do you want to add anything else on Superman Return?
Not particularly. I think I said all I want to say about this movie. Like I said before, the movie can be much worse, but much better. Before this movie, like I said, it's supposed to be a Superman Live movie with Tim Burton and Nicolas Cage. I tried to see that version. We have a little bit at the Flash movie recently. We have a cameo of Nicolas Cage as Superman that cameo about the movie that never was. But I think the choice to create a more modern version of Superman with the connection back then, as a tasting thought. But like I said, the period it was released, it was too late for that. But yeah, like I say, this movie it worked to be watched one time. That a tasting experience. Yeah, I think we talk. All I want to talk about this movie. It's not that bad as so many people say. I talked with friend after I see this movie last year, and some of my friends see this movie again, and the ranking up for them. Many of my friends said that movie is bad, and you see the movie again after my critic about this movie, and some of my friends say, oh, "Yeah, you're right. This movie not that bad as remember. It's okay. Yeah, some good scene in it." Like the plane scene, so many friends agreed with me. The plane scene is so great. So yeah, if you see the movie when you're younger and don't like it, try again one more time. You'll be surprised.
Yeah, I agree with you. I will give this movie a 5 out of 10. Right in the middle. What about you?
I give a little better ranking. I would give a 6 of 10. The movie is okay. You have some good element in it, and you have a great director back behind. Brian Singer know how to create a Sparrow movie. X-Men 1 or 2 are so perfect for that. And try to do it again with Superman Return. The Superman not work perfectly for this new hero. He tried his best, and you can see in the movie. The big issue I have with this movie, the movie tried to be the new Superman 3. That was not a good idea when it was released in 2006. It was too late to do that, I feel. The movie need to be this own thing. It will be better. But what we have now is an okay movie with a okay actor in it. Brendan Root is good as Superman, and I like Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. He used the same mimic, same iteration Gene Hackman as before. He tried to be Gene Hackman, and he's good at to play Gene Hackman. And Kevin Spacey is a phenomenal actor. Now this actor is blacklisted in Hollywood. I understand why, but he was so a big actor in the 19 in early 2000. Kate Woods at Lois Lane was one of the bad element in the movie. She was not great. But like I say, the movie need to be watched one time, and that just for that, and for so many men, I need like the plane scene and the direction of the movie. I give a 6 easy for this movie, not more. But the movie not deserve less. I feel if you see Superman 4 and 3, you see a bad Superman movie. This one not bad. It just have some issue in it.
Yeah, I can see that feeling, and again, I wish we had more Brandon route. With that being said, this is the Rotten Tomato segment. I'm wondering if we are reading the room well again, or are we crazy? This is the big question. So there we go. The Rotten Tomato segment. I think we will have a slightly shorter segment than the first one we did. 72 from the critic and 60 from the audience, which is fascinating. So interesting score. You are reading the room better than me.
Yeah.
Uh, Interesting. So, critic consensus of Brian Singer, reverent, and a visually decadent adaptation gives the Man of Steel welcome emotional complexity. The result, a satisfying stick to your ribs adaptation. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, the adaptation is working, and because of Brian Singer behind another director, I feel will create a more worse movie. But Brian Singer know how to do that, and you see the many visually given this movie, and yeah, I think the movie is a good, is a interesting. I would say okay, good, interesting, whatever adaptation of Man of Steel. You need to see this version, like I said before, and that made sense for consensus.
Amazing. So the first two critique are the only critique we will be covering, and then we will cover the audience. Cosmo Lensman at the Times UK with a 4 out of 5. So that'd be a 8 out of 10. What this film has and what is missing from most superhero film these days is a real sense of the heroic. And you know what? I may disagree with the score, but I agree with that statement. Any thoughts on that,
I
Matt?
agree too. We have so much, so many movie that lost the way to create a good superhero movie. MCU and DC have the same issue with so many movies like that. Just try to create a comedy movie or action movie, but superhero movie more than that. You have superhero movie has a real sense of heroic, like he said. You need that to create a great superhero movie, and I feel many students need to remember that when you create movie. James Gunn has that, and you can see that the many movie have done. The new Superman has that sense of the heroic. The movie has some issue, but you can feel that formula is back for this movie, and I hope many movie have that now. Thunderbolt has that, and Fantastic Four has that. The last Fantastic Four. I feel this thing is come back. Start to learn the problem. You create so bad movie. Filled with lack of heroism, and now you try to correct that. And I'm happy for the future of Sparrow. And yeah, that makes sense what you say. Back then, that was a good example of that.
Well. It made money, and I think it makes sense. So coming next, Derek Malcolm with the 3 out of 5. So that's a rotten score with a 6 out of 10. Why the World Doesn't Need Superman is the title of Lois Lane Pulitzer Prize winning essay. Blockbuster at times during Brian Singer overlong reworking. One can only agree with her. It's all highly competent but pretty predictable stuff. Do you agree with that statement?
Uh, um, I agree that Benicio was pretty high competent with the stuff. Uh, Predictable. Superman is done by anyone, so it's not easy to create something surprising about him. Uh, I think the concept that Superman leave Earth for 5 years was a good idea. Create something new for the universe of Superman. So I don't feel it was pretty predictable. Maybe just the stuff about this kid it was of course predictable, but other than that, the movie tried something new. He fell for some element, but he tried something new. So I'm not 100% agree with what he said.
Interesting. So I'd say Superman. I don't care if it's predictable. I care is the character. Who is Superman? What is Superman? And I will be honest. As much as I'm not the biggest fan of Route out there, I think he did far better than Dean Cain or Henry Cavill. So they are a worse depiction of Superman out there, and I think he has very good ideas on how Superman should be and should what? Yeah, should be. Yeah, I think they nailed that aspect. It feels like a Superman movie except for the colors. Um,
Yeah.
Coming next, the audience with Linux B with 2.5 stars. That'd be a 5 out of 10. A very strange callback to Reeves, which is cool, I guess. Old fashioned Lex hated that. Superman, if he was Homelander. Not quite sure what they mean, but I guess they're not the biggest fan, but they don't hate it. Uh, that's a very interesting comment. She with a 3 stars and a half. So that'd be a 7 out of 10. Pretty dang good. Brandon Routh embodies Superman pretty well, and I wish he stayed for longer as the role. And I think we both agree with
Yeah.
that. Well, that was a very fun discussion. Thank you for joining me for that discussion, Matt. So, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
The usual. I see stuff and I write about them. But intention not for your audience. Recently, I go to cinema. I see Sheep Detective. I think the English title of the movie, where with Hugh Jackman when some sheep investigate the death of the shifter, played by Hugh Jackman, and a funny movie to see. I want to watch the new Mortal Kombat movie. Try to give me the motivation to go to see it, because I know the movie will not be great, but I'm curious to see that because I'm a gamer and I like to see adaptation on cinema. But other than that, there's all and nothing new and new multi.
Well, tomorrow, more James Bond with Spectre and No Time to Die once again, because we already covered that in the past. Maybe the Doberman will show up. We will see. I will ask him if he is free tomorrow. Outside of that, well, Thursday, Daredevil Born Again and the Punisher special at the same time as usual, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Friday, a reaction stream. Now, this is also the announcement that season 8 of the Red Blue podcast is ending. The show will be back this fall, as usual, with the night season, and somewhere in the middle of the summer, actually, July 2nd, to celebrate the podcast fourth year, we are having the bonus episode being the Christopher Nolan trilogy. We will talk about that July 2nd. Outside of that, well, even if the Red Bull podcast is going on the summer break, I will be airing podcasts here and there, not as consistent, simply because now it will be more of a weekly thing where something new comes out, like Supergirl, I'm covering that. Something new comes out, like Spider-Man, I'm covering that. But again, the Red Blue Podcast will be back this fall with season 9 and many interesting episodes. And in between, we will have new releases talk every week if I watch a new release. And I've got many summer release I want to talk about and see. And that's the planning for the future and also gaming as well. With that being said, thank you, Matt. Season 9 is coming soon. And
Yeah.
we are nearing the ending of this show. And with this, thank you everyone for the action in the chat. And see you soon for more discussion. Have a great one, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, that blue podcast. Come check the scene. Movies old and new. Know what I mean? The Red Blue Podcast. Come check the scene. Movies old and new. Know what I mean?